Today is a good day because I just got in the Simagic GT Neo Wheel. Was lucky to get in on the first batch with SimMotion. So it's going to be a quick unboxing video and then kind of my first impressions using it in the sim. So let's get started. All right. So we got our protective foam. And a nice little cover. You can see the encoders poking through. Get the wheels nice and wrapped. And like others have said, I've seen some other unboxings. It's definitely heavier than I was anticipating, actually. So it feels in the hand pretty weighty. So we'll set that to the side for now, see what else we have in here. All right, so it looks like some documentation and I'm sure some stickers. Let's flip it this way. Some Simagic stickers. Yet another sticker, our USB-A to USB-C cable for updating firmware or connecting the wheel to different wheelbase, I believe. I don't know if you have to use this with MagLink or not. I have a Simagic base, so I won't be using MagLink. In this one, we have the stickers for the wheel, and then some tweezers to help put those on, and an Allen key for disassembling. It might be used to adjust the shifters, I'm not sure. Just a quick wheel guide. Get this set up. We got some more stickers. I believe these are intended to use or to be used with the encoders. They have rounded edges, and there's a bunch of different shapes for each kind and each color. And then I've had these from other Simagic products. These are actual decals, so if you want to throw these on the back of your bucket seat or on your rig, anything like that. All right, so let's get to the main event, which is the wheel. It comes in this little drawstring bag that's interesting. All right. Yeah, this thing feels nice and solid, nice and weighty. I really wasn't sure what to expect because I'd own the FX wheel, which is the closest thing to this one in Simagic's line, I would say, besides maybe the GT4. But yeah, the grip shape feels good. The rubber is not quite as soft as the FX. There's really not much give. The FX has an okay amount of give in it. This one does not. The shape itself, though, is comfortable. This kind of ridged right here, so you can get your hands around it. Buttons. Buttons are nice and clicky. Pretty easy to feel when you actually click them. All right, and the encoders. Encoders feel, the actual encoder knob feels, I honestly can't tell if it's plastic or metal. I really can't. It's not cold to the touch, really, which makes me wonder if it's actually plastic. But it definitely has a lighter resistance than some of the other Simagic wheels. But no, I mean, they do the job. They feel good enough. I don't think you're gonna be making any crazy, extra inputs or anything. But yeah, they'll do the job. And then funky switches. Shit, can't get a grip on it. There we go. Yeah, funky switches feel fine. There's no slop. Very obvious what your inputs are doing. Twisting feels good, clicking down feels good. These caps are plastic, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. They feel very solid. And with gloves on, I doubt I would even notice at all, actually. So now we have the larger encoders, and these do feel honestly heavier than I was anticipating. And the reason I say that is because there were a few reviews that mentioned that these were very light, and they're definitely lighter than my FX, but they feel better than I was expecting. The knob is plastic, so again, not cold to the touch, but they feel pretty precise. I don't think you're gonna have any issues with these either. Yeah, interesting. I know there are already some like generic encoders, caps that you can replace these with. Someone on Etsy's already done it. I don't know if these are screwed on or if you have to just yank this off if it's glued on or something, but you can get some anodized aluminum ones. They do cover the LEDs that go around the perimeter of these though, so that's something you'd have to keep in mind. But honestly, I don't feel the need to replace them. I think these are solid enough. Maybe if one breaks, you know, go ahead and upgrade all of them or something, but there's nothing that indicates that these are going to be flimsy or break. So let's go to the paddles. Nice and quiet, pretty tactile, not quite as tactile as their other wheels, at least that I've used. I don't know if it's just a less strong magnet or what. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they still feel good. They still feel pretty tactile, but just not quite. And it may even be using aluminum on the paddles as opposed to carbon. Maybe the aluminum just is a tiny bit heavier and dampens the feeling a little bit, but no, these are fine. Clutch paddles here. And these are actually heavier than I anticipated. Very smooth, but honestly, I think these are heavier than all the other Simagic wheels I've used. Interesting. Yeah, they feel good. You have essentially the same Simagic quick release. They've revised it a little bit. They've put this little lip here to help you get a good grip, you know, if you're grabbing from the top and the bottom to get it off your wheelbase, which is always nice. It still, you know, doesn't take up too much extra space. But yeah, I love the Simagic quick release. It's probably my favorite that I've seen on the market. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the first look. Oh, and one last thing, the faux carbon look looks pretty good in person. This was one thing that I was worried about, was whether it was going to look super cheap. I don't think you're going to confuse this for real forged carbon at all, but it definitely looks better than just like, you know, a vinyl wrap or something. And you can actually see the pattern kind of underneath the letters, which is interesting. The letters, the Simagic is not like another layer on top. It seems like it's kind of printed on there the same way, so interesting. And then we have our row of LEDs for our rev lights. But yeah, fit and finish is great. This wheel definitely feels, you know, not cheap. It definitely doesn't feel like half the wheel that an FX is. So I'll probably do a video, more in-depth video comparing the two side by side, just so you can kind of see, you know, what the FX may have that this doesn't, and, you know, kind of the fit and finish and material quality upgrades that you get if you're trying to choose between this wheel and the FX. But if you lean more toward the look of this one, I don't think you're losing out massively by getting this over the FX. So yeah, let's get this puppy on the rig and see how it feels. Unfortunately, straight away I noticed an issue with my Neo wheel. Turns out the quick release is not perfectly aligned straight with the body of the wheel. As you can see here from my FX, measure 0 degrees when I hold it straight. My GTC measures 0 degrees when I hold it straight. My GT1, again, 0 degrees when I hold it straight. However, with the GT Neo, when I hold it straight, it's reading 2 degrees on the wheelbase. And I swapped the GT1's quick release onto it, and that fixes it. But if I use the Neos, I have to hold it crooked in order to get 0 degrees. So we're just going to go ahead and set the center where the Neo will be flat and go from here. Now I have started a support ticket on Simagic's official Discord server, so we'll see what they say. I'm curious to see if they say it's within spec and this is just part of the, cost cutting to get this wheel down to the price that it is, below $300, or if, it is an actual problem of my quick release. I've seen at least 1 or 2 other people mention it between Reddit and the Simagic Discord, so hopefully it's not an indication of a common problem. But yeah, so just want to make that clear before we get started. But I'm going to get some racing done in this, and then I will talk about my impressions. So I've had a chance to use the Neo now for about an hour or two, and overall, really like it. Let me show it to you guys. So the grips, really like the shape of. The spot for your thumb here fits my hand really well. I have absolutely no comfort issues. Now that said, it definitely is more comfortable to use gloves with this wheel. The grips don't have much give at all. It's not that it's uncomfortable with your bare hands, but gloves obviously give you that little extra bit of padding, so I tend to use gloves anyway. With gloves, this was extremely comfortable. Had no issues with the shape of it. The wheel body itself was very stiff. I tried testing for any kind of noticeable flex and could not get anything. Honestly, my rig started creaking and making pops and things like that before the wheel made any noise. And so that's nice. Even with, going over curbs and things like that, the wheel's not buzzing, the wheel's not rattling, anything like that. So that's nice and quiet in operation. And the size of it, the 300 millimeter diameter, is actually perfect. I'm used to using the FX, which is 290, I believe, a little bit smaller. And I find myself preferring the 300 for GT cars especially. It still works fine for Formula cars. In fact, I drove the F3. I did my weekly race on iRacing with this wheel, and it handled it perfectly. But I still do think, slightly smaller is good for Formula. But if you just want one wheel between GT and Formula, this wheel size is pretty much perfect for that. Now for the encoders, the main encoders on the front of the wheel feel solid. I had no issues using these with or without gloves. Wasn't accidentally doing double clicks or anything. They functioned pretty much how you'd expect encoders to. The thumb encoders, however, these are definitely lighter than I would prefer. With gloves on, I found myself doing double clicks, and the main reason is just the other Simagic wheels that I use require a lot more force in the thumb encoders. That's just what I have muscle memory with. That's what I'm used to. The longer I use this wheel, the less that even became an issue at all. It's not that there's slop in the encoders or anything like that. They feel nice and precise. It's just the amount of effort required for a click is a lot less on this wheel than other wheels that they do. Now the paddles work perfectly fine, nice and clicky. The adjustment actually came in handy. I ended up moving the paddles all the way as far out as they can go. All the other wheels are left at default. This is the only one where I've moved them out, so glad that adjustment is there. And the clutch paddles as well. I really just use these for look left, look right. If I ever want to use a clutch, I'm using my clutch pedal on my P2000s. So I didn't really test these too much, but I imagine they work pretty much the same as all the other Simagic wheels. All right, now we're in the SimPro software here. And so with the Neo, you can choose between different profiles. Simagic has some pre-made ones here, and then you can have your own custom ones as well. So here's one I made for the Ferrari 296. You can change the colors of each individual light. Plenty to choose from. You can choose if you want the button to reflect any telemetry. You can do the same exact thing with the encoders. With the rev lights, you can customize, what percentage each stage the LEDs come on, the colors, same choice of colors. So you can get it nailed down per car. You can save these per profile. So very convenient. Brightness settings as well. And it's also in the software where you can toggle between button mode for the clutches or have them in the proper clutch mode if you want to use that. I haven't calibrated these yet. I normally use button mode for look left and look right. And alright, to sum it up. Assuming my QR issue is unique to me, or at least to a very small batch of these wheels and isn't a common issue, I have no issues recommending this wheel, whether you're in the Simagic ecosystem or not. It's just a good all-around wheel. Feature-wise, I don't know if you can beat it for the money. You have a rock-solid QR, as we saw. But yeah, if my QR did not have the issue, these thumb encoders would be the only real noticeable complaint I have. And that's pretty damn good for a wheel that is under $300, and then for $20 more you can use on any other wheelbase. So it's impressive. So we'll see what Simagic says. Filed a support ticket for this QR. Hopefully it's either exchange the wheel or they just send me a replacement QR, something like that. If it's one of those things where they say it's within tolerance, it's kind of a first world problem, but considering all my other Simagic wheels have no issues all being lined up the same, I don't think this should be any different. So, that's my opinion. If you get one and it's slightly off, and you're completely fine with having to recenter it, then by all means. But personally, I don't think I should have to deal with that every single time I want to use it. But I am planning on coming out with a video comparing this real in depth with the FX, to kind of show you what you do get for your extra money, kind of build quality differences and tolerances, things like that. And I'm also going to do some more longer term reviews of a lot of the Simagic equipment I have. I've had most of it for around 9 months, so I've had enough time to figure out my likes, dislikes, things I wish were different, or, can answer the question, would I buy it again, if I was starting over today? So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when those come out. And also, I stream on Twitch a few times a week. My link should be on my YouTube channel, so if you're interested in hopping in any of the live streams, watch the chat, and love people getting in there asking questions about gear or the race or the sim or anything like that. So but yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video. Appreciate everybody who made it to the end, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.